Hey guys, so we just thought we would jump on for our weekly live Q&A. So today we're just going to be talking about gut health, the importance of gut health, what it is, just basically covering sort of all grounds there. So if you guys have any questions with regards to gut health, anything in specific, feel free to comment as we go and we can hopefully answer those for you. But first of all, we just want to say awesome work, guys. We are obviously in week 5. The last 5 weeks have kind of just flown by. And yeah, you guys have been doing a fantastic job. It's so good to see people posting stuff on the group. Obviously people coming to our yoga evenings and any events we've had. Quickly on the events, we do obviously have bowling happening this Friday at 7 p.m. So that is going to be awesome. So it's just $20 and that obviously includes 2 games, some nibbles and the donation for our 6-week challenge charity, I'm Hope. So feel free to come to that. And then on Sunday we have the Walk for Awareness. So that is at 11 o'clock in Hagley Park. And then next Thursday is our last big final event. And that is of course our pub quiz. So we're really excited about that, guys. It's going to be a fantastic evening. Pub quiz tickets are only $15 and that money goes purely to our charity. So yeah, really good. So get your friends and your family together and invite them along, and yeah, just grab a table and have some fun. By the way, you don't even need to know anything about anything. I'm shocking at pub quizzes and I'm organising it, so it's just about going along and having fun, right? So yeah, that's good. Anyway, we're going to jump into some gut health stuff. Like I said, if you've got any questions at all, feel free to comment them. We will be able to go back and answer them if you're watching this on replay as well. So first of all, what is gut health? Well, it's basically just the health of our gut. So that is the whole microbiome system in your gut. So it pretty much starts from your mouth, travels down into your stomach, and then you've got your small and your large intestine. I'm not going to go too in depth, but we're going to keep it pretty basic. But a lot of people think your gut, they don't even know what your gut is. Your gut is their whole system. So it starts from your mouth, where you actually do start digesting food, breaking it up as you eat it. And then obviously when that food hits your stomach, you've got those stomach acids which are going to further break up the food. And then when it gets into your small intestine, you're going to start absorbing the food. And then obviously same in your large intestine with the fluids and all of that sort of jazz. Gut health is just referring to also the microbiome, so the bacteria in your gut. Now we all have good bacteria and bad bacteria. That's totally normal. But for gut health, we want to make sure that we are thriving with the good bacteria. I'm not going to name the names because they're really hard to describe, but basically we've got millions and billions of really good bacteria in our guts. These bacteria are responsible for breaking down food, helping us absorb food, and basically getting the most out of the nutrients that we eat. So some common things that might disrupt the balance of the good bacteria in your gut are things like antibiotics. So that's why it's quite common if you ever have to take antibiotics for whatever reason, the doctor may say, well, if they're a good doctor, they will say also take a probiotic alongside that, because naturally the antibiotic is going to kill off all the good bacteria. And there's times that we do need to take antibiotics, so you want to make sure that you are supplementing with probiotics in those sort of circumstances. Other things that can kill off your good bacteria, things like stress, artificial sweeteners, alcohol is a big one. Fried foods, fatty foods, basically anything that is destructive in a way to your body. And of course it's all about balance. I had a few wines in the weekend, as I'm sure most people did. So it's not about cutting out alcohol completely. It's just about limiting how much you're having and when you're having it. So things like that. Stress is a massive one. People don't realize, but stress does play a huge role in your microbiome. They actually say that your gut is your second brain. So I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but I have experienced that myself, and it's so true. It's so true. How often is it that you might be feeling stressed or anxious or worried about something? So yeah, and your gut tells you that. You start having stomach issues, you might feel a bit bloated, you might have some stomach pains, you might have trouble going to the bathroom, things like that. So your gut is literally your second brain. So that's a little bit about it. And obviously, guys, if your gut health isn't on point, you're not going to be absorbing the most out of your foods. So it doesn't matter if you're taking XYZ in terms of your supplements. If you can't absorb them, you're basically just like peeing them out, and it's just expensive urine. Same as with food. You could be having like the best food diet, whatever. You could be whole foods, vegan based, raw, organic, but if your gut health isn't in prime function, you're not going to be able to absorb all the vitamins and the nutrients and the minerals and all of that. So that's why it always comes back to having good gut health. How to know if you don't have good gut health? Well, generally you'll just know because you might feel bloated, you might feel tired, lethargic, things like that. Also, you might find after eating certain foods your stomach feels a little bit upset, or you just have trouble going to the bathroom, things like that. And it's all good to talk about this sort of stuff, guys. I know people get really funny about it, but it's just health, and if you don't talk about it, you're never going to learn, and you're never going to be able to better yourself. So yes, feel free to talk about that sort of stuff. That's massive. It's quite a complicated thing, but at the same time it's also quite easy. If you reduce the stresses in your life, if you make sure you're eating the right foods, you're getting enough sleep, you're getting enough water, your gut health should naturally kind of just take care of itself. Having said that, you don't have to take a million supplements for gut health at all. To be honest, the perfect person shouldn't need anything, but sometimes there are times where we are under a little bit of stress, or we have been on antibiotics and we do need to just supplement with something. So I'm just going to cover a few things that can help assist gut health if that's something that you're wanting to obviously work on. So the first thing, that's probably the most common and the most easiest, is literally apple cider vinegar. So apple cider vinegar is fantastic. I like to take that with lemon juice, like sort of first thing in the morning. It just kind of helps to wake you up. It's not a magical detox like people think, but it does just help your body to kind of just make sure every system is working as it should be. And you'll notice, because you might take it and then have to go to the bathroom. But basically what that does, guys, is it helps to alkalize the body. It's going to help to just, keep your stomach at like quite a nice state. Same as with lemon juice. Also aloe vera juice. So aloe vera juice is becoming more popular now, which is really, really awesome. It's like cheap as too. Like if you go to House 2000, I think you can get like a bottle like this big for about like $20, and you only need like 5 to 10 mils a day. It's small. It's only small. You will know if you take more. Because your body will tell you. But yeah, you only need the smallest amount. And again, it's going to help just with assisting that good bacteria in your gut, and making sure that you're on point there. If you want to go a little bit more in depth, there are things like milk thistle, slippery elm, dandelion, what else have I got? And then your pre and probiotics. So basically, your probiotics are quite common. You'll see them a lot in like your health food stores and things like that. And then you've got your prebiotics. Now, how the difference between the two, if in case you're wondering. So prebiotics basically are the food that feeds the probiotics. So you can get that naturally from food. The probiotics themselves are the bacteria that you need to replace if for whatever reason you're low on that. So having high fiber foods is a fantastic way to get more prebiotics in to help nourish the probiotics in your body. Anything like oats, lots of veggies, nuts, seeds, artichoke, that just came to mind. I feel like I always see that written up. Anything that's basically high fiber, and you want a mix of insoluble and soluble fiber. So just Google it. I'm not going to list all the foods now, but literally just Google insoluble fiber and soluble fiber, and find the right balance of the two, and incorporating those foods will also help. If you have, so what have I got? Gut issues. So there's quite a few, it's quite common to have gut issues. It's becoming more prevalent these days. Personally, I feel it's got a lot to do with stress. Having experienced that myself a few years ago, I had really bad IBS, and I look back now and I think, well, actually, yes, there was some food intolerances, but 80% of it was related to my work environment at the time, and how I perceived stress. So, if you are experiencing gut issues, I would challenge you to ask yourself, how do you perceive stress in your everyday life? Do you go to work and do you feel like, oh my God, I'm up to my neck, and do you wake up every morning and dread what you're going to do that day? Just how does life sort of affect you, and how do you handle stress? Because if that's an issue, the biggest piece of advice I would say before you go and buy any supplement or you do anything like that, forget the diet, is just to address that. So go and speak to someone about stress management. Ask yourself how you're sleeping as well, because all of these things naturally tie in. Then if you're doing all of that and you're on point, on the right track there, that's when you can that's when you can look at things like supplementing with something that may help. Now personally, I love, there's this product called Iberogast that is by far the best product I have ever come across. If you are somebody that experiences bloating or stomach pains, or a mix between like diarrhea and constipation, or a little bit of nausea, anything like that after meals, honestly guys, go to the pharmacy and get this. So basically what Iberogast is it's a mix of 9 different herbs, and it works. I've tried so much myself. Sometimes you just need a little bit of assistance, and it's by far the best. So what I'm saying is, if you've sort of cut out things and whatnot and you need a bit of assistance, try that. The next thing I would say is, if you are experiencing gut issues and you've addressed those other things, look at your diet. So it's quite common, there's quite a few foods that can sort of set people off. Common one is dairy. Everybody is different. Some people don't have the ability to break down the enzyme lactase, which is in dairy. So you could look at obviously adding in a digestive enzyme to your diet, or you could just look at removing dairy from your diet for a little bit and see how your body responds. If your skin clears up, if you don't feel as congested through your nasal passages, and your digestion is better, then that's your body telling you that dairy isn't well tolerated. Similar with gluten. So those are the two that tend to set most people off. You might go and have a pizza or something and then be like, God, why is my gut so bloated and I feel like crap? Well, it's generally because something you've eaten has disagreed with you. Then there's other things like nuts. Sometimes people can have slight intolerances to nuts. One thing I found commonly in clients and also myself is actually egg white. So not eggs themselves seem to be okay, but the egg white can cause a little bit of digestive imbalance. But this is all things that you need to work on with a practitioner, with somebody that's actually qualified, versus just stripping everything out of your diet and then missing out on all your good nutrients because you're trying to figure out why is your gut reacting the way it is. So my biggest piece of advice would be see a nutritionist, because they are going to be able to look at your diet from like a good sort of overview, and sort of see, okay, what is working, what is not working, what could be some potential, inflammatory foods. Everybody is different as well. Like I know some people that if they eat pineapple, they get an upset gut. So it's just about finding, what works for you, what works for your body, and not just being Dr. Google about it. So that would be my biggest piece of advice. So yeah, just to kind of summarize that big blab of information, if you are experiencing any kind of gut issues, first step would be to take a step back, breathe, connect in with your belly breath versus breathing up into your chest, and just ask yourself, how stressed are you? Do you feel you are a stressed person? Do you feel you are an anxious person? Because chances are, if mentally you're not quite as balanced as you want to be, that could be affecting your gut health. So obviously seek help down that sort of realm. If you've done that and you're still like, no, there's something else going on and the doctor can't help you, then go see a nutritionist and sit down and be like, okay, this is my current diet, this is what I'm currently eating, and the best thing you could do actually is to have a food diary and write down what you're eating each day and write down how you feel after you eat it, because often you can then look for a pattern, and if you're having the same foods on a regular basis and they're causing the same issues in your gut, you can be like, okay, cool, it's obviously that food that's sort of setting me off. It gives you like a good overview. one sort of diet, I guess, that is really common if you are having gut issues is called a Fodmap diet. So if you guys haven't heard of that, Fodmaps is basically a type of carbohydrate that's found in many different foods. It's not really, when we say carbohydrate though, it's not like rice or pasta or anything like that. It's literally just like a chemical bond within the food. And you know, it's found in things like gluten is a Fodmap. Onions and garlic, believe it or not, are really high FODMAP. Certain fruits can be high FODMAP. Certain nuts, too much kumara, stuff like that. It's crazy, like when you actually look at it and break it down. So yeah, that's probably the next step that you would go to. Again, working with a nutritionist, is they might put you on a low FODMAP diet. Again, you can Google low FODMAP diet to kind of get more of an idea. But basically, these foods are going to be foods that your body can digest very easily, and it's not going to cause a lot of, you know, stomach issues, if you will. The idea of a FODMAP diet though is to remove foods completely for a set period of time, but then definitely add them back in one at a time. So for myself, to give you guys an example, a few years ago when I was having really bad IBS, I was really angry because the doctors were just, I found to be useless for myself. They just prescribed me a whole lot of drugs which basically were protein pump inhibitors. So what that means is it basically stops the stomach acid secretion of the stomach acid, because they thought, oh, that's what's going to help. But now, having studied myself a lot of like natural health and nutrition, that's not the way to go, because certain drugs like that, I'm just trying to think, omeprazole I think is one, and there's a few others. I mean, they might have their place for some people. I'm not saying that, you know, don't take them, but I'm just saying if your doctor ever prescribes you something like that because you've got gut issues and there's nothing else going on, don't just take that as the thing to do. Dive deeper and ask, why are you being prescribed this drug when you should be like healing your gut naturally and getting to the root cause, because all that these things do is they just stop the secretion of stomach acid. But again, that's not even going to help you break down the food. So, you know, look deeper. So basically I did that, and then I was like, no, I'm not going to take that. I took it for a while and I found it wasn't really helping, and then I went and I saw a nutritionist at the time who basically put me on a low FODMAP diet, and I learnt with her. We removed certain foods. Mushrooms, funnily enough, was the one thing that was like upsetting me, and I'm like, why? Because it's a high FODMAP food. So you remove all these foods, and then you stick to a very bland diet for about a month, and then once your gut is in a better state, you can start adding things back in. And now, like, I mean, yeah, I was fine. Got back to a point where, you know, gut's completely normal, and that's normal. You know, we go through stress in life that kind of upsets our gut a bit. So yeah, that's a little bit about the FODMAP diet, but the point is it gets your gut back to a prime state, and then you're sweet to go. Just on that, I just thought, it just popped into my mind, so bone broth is the best thing you could also add to your diet. So even if you aren't experiencing any, you know, upset gut issues or anything like that, you just want to get more out of your food and make your gut be in a better state, because naturally that's also going to help with your immunity and stuff like that. Bone broth contains essential amino acids, so what is it? Proline and glycine, I believe, are the two. Don't quote me off that, I have to Google it, but I feel like those are the two that are really, really prominent in bone broth, any kind of collagen really. And what that does is it helps to just repair the lining of the gut. So, you know, you're going to be able to absorb your food better, and it's so easy to make, guys. Like, oh my gosh, I started getting into it recently. I've been very slack as of the last few weeks, haven't actually made any. All you have to do is go to the butcher, like the butcher's next door to us. You can get like a bag of chicken frames, or you can get beef bones for like $3 a bag. And then if you've got a crock pot, even better, chuck it in there, bit of water, put some garlic, some salt, some onion, carrot, celery, soy sauce, whatever kind of flavors you want. And then you just want to simmer that really, really low for a minimum of 4 hours. After that, what you do is you let it cool. The fat is going to rise to the top, so you can skim off the fat and then reheat cup by cup, and it's like the best. It's just like this really nice, like nourishing soup, and it's so much better than buying it from the store where you pay like $10 for like this tiny little thing. So that's my tip there. If you guys want more ideas on how to make it, just hit me up, because I've actually should make some recipes just to show you how to do it. But yeah, bone broth is fantastic. So yeah, I think that's pretty much covered everything. Yeah, fermented foods are fantastic. So things like kimchi, sauerkraut, miso, kefir, some fermented soy. You just have to look for that. Yeah, they can also be really, really good for your gut as well, because they're full of really good bacteria. But yeah, other than that, guys, just, yeah, have a look at your diet. You know, before you go and buy like this supplement and that supplement, just have a look at what you're currently eating. Ask yourself how your body responds and how you feel, what your energy is like after certain foods, because often just through that process alone, you'll be able to find what works best for you and your body. And we're always here to help. Like, if you've got any questions, come and see us. We can always help you sort of pull apart your diet and, you know, put it back together for what is best for you and your body, so you get the most out of your food, best energy, best sleep, all that sort of jazz. So yeah, that was our little Q&A on gut health. But if you guys have any questions at all, feel free just to comment them, and then we can obviously go back and answer them. We have yoga tonight at 6 o'clock. I think we've got 5 people booked in so far, so there's still about 7 spots if anybody does want to show. Only $5, and then, you know, just an hour of Zen where you can kind of just chill out and relax. So yeah, have a fantastic week, guys. Hopefully we will see you on Friday for the bowling, and then next Thursday for the quiz night. But yeah, keep smashing it, keep posting your recipes and your food. We love seeing that, and we will see you in the gym.